Hello, welcome to the channel and thanks for joining me. Today we're taking a look at the modern classic remote control, the B04 from Bang Olufsen. Now, a little bit of a backstory on this thing is that whilst I feature a lot of Walkmans and boomboxes and like 1970s and 80s kit on the channel, I do like my retro gaming a little bit as well. My girlfriend and I have been known to play on the Ataris and Commodores and early PlayStations and stuff like that. And we've got a modern telly, as most of us do, and it doesn't really work very well with the old games and stuff, so we decided to buy a CRT TV. Now, not many about these days, and a bit overpriced in many respects for what they are, because they have become something of a gamer's thing. But anyway, we managed to find a half-decent CRT TV, not too far away from home. It was doable, we could get it in the car, so we thought we'd take a punt on it and go and pick it up. And that's fine, but unfortunately the remote control has seen better days, and I wanted to try and sort that out today. Now, as I say, a bit of a modern classic really. This thing, it weighs literally about, well, it's 300 grams I think, so it's very heavy. Aluminium, solid body, I mean, it's just an incredible thing. But unfortunately the LCD display on the top is completely broken, and we did look at replacing it with a replacement remote control, but first and foremost they're so expensive now, to be honest, that they cost more than we paid for the telly, and even then they've got kind of like ghosting and other issues as well, so we weren't quite sure what to do. But it was a shame not to have the display on there, because the TV itself was in beautiful condition still, but also really just because, you know, we want to try and keep this thing going, keep it original as best as we can. So anyway, I resisted the urge to buy somebody else's semi-broken remote as a replacement for this one, and I managed to find a replacement screen. Now, the other thing as well is that this is really filthy. It's got ingrained kind of dirt and grime and general yuckiness about it. So I'm hoping that we'll be able today to clean the body of this up, maybe take it apart, clean between all the buttons and stuff, and also replace this screen if we can. So to that end, I have managed to find a guy who used to work for B&O that's got kits that he sells over on eBay. I'm not affiliated or linked with this guy by any stretch. It was just someone that I happened to find on there. And yeah, so it's a replacement display, and from what I can tell, it literally is just the LCD panel. There are a couple of foam bearers, I think, and what looks like a zebra connector there. So let's just have a look. In fact, you can see how frail this is. You might even see, I've literally just got this out of the box, but any kind of heat or pressure does actually start to make the display show little bits and pieces in there, so it must be very, very precise. Anyways, what I want to try and do today, yeah, you can see it now. Did you see that as I just literally moved the packet? You can see that it's starting to do things. So hopefully that's not a fault with the display. I think it just needs to be settled into the actual main remote control. So what we want to do today then is give this a bit of a clean and see if we can get this screen in. Let's go. So the first thing is to get the batteries out. Now the trick with this, I believe, is to slide it forward a touch and then just pull your nail underneath to hear that little click, and then push it again and out it comes. Now, it was amazing really, when I was trying to figure out if anybody had already repaired one of these. I'd look on YouTube, as one does, and as maybe you are now, and I couldn't really find much information. So I thought, well, let's have a go, something fun for the channel, something a bit different, and hopefully there may be people that can learn from it as well. So that's how you get the battery cover off. And that might sound obvious, but when you look on repair videos on YouTube, there's people, like thousands of people have been looking just to see how you get that back cover off, because it's got loads of little clips and stuff on it, and it's not as obvious as it might at first appear. So anyway, that's that. So it looks like we have got ourselves 1, 2, 3 small Phillips screws. There may be one under the serial number as well. That may well be a protective, like a void sticker on there, but this thing's A, it's 20 years old and well out of warranty, B, it's broken anyway, which is why we're here to fix it, so breaking a seal under there if we need to isn't going to be an issue. So let's see if we can get a screwdriver on those. Okay, well, straight away that one there is loose. tiny little screws. Ah, they're all loose actually. They are all very loose. I wonder if someone's had a look at this already at some point. Right, that's 3 screws. Do we think there's a 4th? Hard to say. Maybe it's just the 3. Feels like there's another screw under there. I'm going to gently peel that back. And like I say, I'm not too worried about... There we go. I wasn't too worried about losing the serial number from this because it's well out of warranty anyway. And obviously I didn't buy it new, so there we go. Right, that's 4 screws out of there. That's one more than anybody's previously managed, because I think a few of them were loose. I think someone might have had a go at this in the past. But then, what do we do? Does the front panel pop out? Let's have a look. Okay, so something happens. There we go. Okie dokie. So, right. Alrighty, so that's where we are. That's where we're at. Good stuff. So, this front panel's come away. And basically you've got 2 connections to the battery terminals just there. We've got the black lead and the red, as one might expect. And then, just going to gently move this away. There we go. Okie dokie. So what do we have? We have ourselves 4 mounting plates for the screws. And a couple of capacitors in here, all the control chips, there's a crystal there, internal fuse by the looks of things. Okay, marvellous. So we've got ourselves the contact side here, I believe. I'm just going to turn this over now and have a little look. Looks like that just clips over. Just having a look, just hesitating while I do that. So what happens? How does this come off? Might even bolt on actually. I noticed, in fact let's just take a look at the actual pack first, see what's in here. Should be some instructions I guess, but then if this is supposed to be for authorised engineers only, right, never touch the contact surfaces or rubber with your fingers. That'll be the zebra contacts. And we can see here that basically we've got 2 bits of foam that it mounts on, which must be like your pressure pads. They've obviously got to come off and replace them with the new ones, and then the zebra contact just goes there. Right, so let's just have a look at this very, very carefully. So in the bag are, let me just find it. Right, so there's your two little bits of rubber. So that's your new mounting rubbers just there. There is the zebra connector inside the bag, just there. And I wanted to get the actual screen out now because I want to see how that works. So I'll leave the zebra connector in there. Okay, right. Okay, so here's your screen, and you can see I've barely even touched that yet and it's still coming up, so it needs to just be laid flat I think when the time comes. Right, not touching any surfaces that bear it. Now I do notice there's 2 holes in the bottom there that kind of correspond just there, so it's looking like we're going to have to actually unscrew these 2 nuts here, and that must bolt the screen into place. So I think what we'll do is give that a little bit of a try. Let's go and find something to do that with. Right, it's looking like these are 5mm nuts on there. And we've got a little plate. Okay, with those little nuts off and the plate, obviously got the LEDs there now which send the signal, but it's just a case of figuring out what comes away and from where. There's a tiny bit of broken plastic's just come out of there, which is a bit of a worry. Right, let's have a look. Oh, okay, so just having a look at this now, and the whole thing's kind of captive, but that in turn is screwed on by all of these plates, so it's looking very much like we've got to remove the entire circuit board assembly. So let's just get that away. I just found it easier to unscrew those by hand than trying to get them stuck in the inside of the driver there. Right, okay, so this one should be okay. I think the plate just there is to retain the whole thing onto the metal chassis there. It's actually cast aluminium, I think. No wonder it's so heavy. Right, now this should come away though now. Okay, well there's the first part. So here we go. So here's the insides. So this is where we ought to be able to get this away and give it all a bit of a clean later, potentially anyways. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's a bit stuck on there. Be nice if we can to separate it, but we'll have a look in a minute. Anyway, ugh, bit grimy. But in terms of the main event, this is where we've got to be a bit careful now. For no other reason, I've just got to go quiet while I make sure I know which way that zebra connector goes. Okay, well there's your screen cover. Okay. Right, well I can see the zebra connector just there. And the pads. So there's the old screen. But yeah, so along this edge here is the zebra connector, and that's what basically takes all of the information from the circuit board and passes the current through the LCD and gives you your display. Obviously not when it's all broken like that. Good news is the bit of broken plastic looks like it's what came off of the actual housing just there, so that's all going to be discarded in due course. Right, also we've got the two pads as well. Now these pads really have seen better days, to be honest. Yeah, they really have. I mean, they've gone to nothing, and I'm a little bit worried because the pads that come with it, well, yeah, I was going to say they're significantly thicker, but I guess that's just because of the wear and tear on this over the years. So let's have a look. Here's the right. I'm not going to worry about the circuit board. That's all soldered on all down the back edge there. I'm going to leave that well alone, I think. Okay. Might have been easier if we could take this out somehow, but anyway. Right, okay. Wittering to myself now. But basically, this whole thing here, it works fine. It will just need to we'll need to get these pads off and put replacements in exactly the same place. So that's that bit. But I kind of want to do that last, I think. It would be quite nice if we could just split this out to give it a good clean. Ah, okay, so it's in parts. Right, now the thing is, I did notice whilst I was looking for a replacement unit that this one says V-tape. So you've got V-tape and TV, radio, that sort of thing there. But the later ones had a DVD player built in, so the display is different. And I honestly didn't know when I was looking for a replacement one just to buy whether or not it's the same LED signal and just a different insert, because I could have lived with pressing DVD instead of V-tape, but I didn't know whether or not it was on a different wavelength or anything like that, so I didn't want to take the risk and buy one that might not be compatible. Good news though is that by being careful and methodical, and I'm not even going to tell you how greasy my hands are now. There's 20 years of people eating Doritos and watching films and ugh. I don't know, the people who spend £10,000 on a new B&O telly sit in front of it eating Doritos, I don't know, never been in that position. Wow, okay, this is great. So here's the insert then. So we can give this a proper sterilisation and a wipe, get rid of the grime, maybe even bring some of the brightness back to the colours. That's pretty cool. So that's that one. Ditto for the other piece, of course. Now we really can get in there and clean this, and I think just soapy water to start with. I could try some IPA, but I don't know. Going to just try and use some soapy water because it's anodised aluminium by the looks of it, and lacquered at that, so I don't really want to put anything on there that's too abrasive or solventy, as it were. Alright, well, I'll go and clean those up in a minute. And then we've got the not insignificant job of then cleaning off the pads from here and getting ready to fit the new display. Right, okay, well, I'm going to go and give these a clean, and I'll be back shortly. Okay, well, I've just cleaned up the aluminium faceplate and indeed the rubbers. So what I'm going to try and do now is get these back in. It was kind of, I suppose I was cheating really. I'm doing the easier stuff first. Clean them. I've also treated them with a little bit of rubber care as well, and not only does that polish it up, but it also helps them to kind of slide back into their recesses a bit easier. You'll notice that they've actually got little sort of tangs on the side, so you kind of have to pop them in, tuck them in one way, and then kind of squeeze them into the other side, like so. It's kind of exciting bit, but the terrifying bit really, because in a minute we'll be doing the trickier stuff, which is the actual display. But for now, if we can just get this little bit tucked in here. It gets a bit tricky on this end because you've actually got several buttons in one place at the bottom, so just got to get these last couple in. And the trick is not to force anything. We don't want to bend the metal, and we don't want to tear the rubber either, so we're just kind of just nursing them home. One more to go. There she is, I think. And then just give it a general press all over. That looks good. Wow, there we go, look at that. Much nicer. Okay, well, it's starting to look the part. Whether or not it will actually work, we'll have to wait and see. So I'm going to put that to one side now for a minute. Oh, here we go then. So the next job is to sort the actual display. And to that end, I think I'm just going to firstly put a little bit of isopropyl alcohol on these other pads, because they've got to come off. Just going to kind of let them soak. And just give them a gentle scrub. You can see they've totally deteriorated anyway. You can see that. You can see my fingers there, that blackness. That's literally the old pad coming away. So they needed doing. Okay, I think I've got off as much as I can. All the residue isn't off, but you can see how sticky the actual original tape is under there. It's only probably a few microns thick, so I'm not too worried about leaving that in place. Plus also, it gives me a good reference for the new rubbers. So here we go. Wish me luck. And they're going to be held in compression anyway. It's compressive foam, so that should be absolutely fine there. And I've just used the original remnants of the adhesive to show me where to exactly place the new ones, so that's all good. Right, I just wanted to get a fresh cotton bud, and I'm just going to clean across the zebra contact as well. It looks clean and there wasn't any corrosion on there, but might as well do everything we can to give ourselves the best chance we've got. And just a quick clean up inside the chassis as well, might as well while we're here. There we go. Okay folks, here's the tricky bit then. So the zebra connector can now come out, and remember we're not supposed to touch the active edges, just gonna be super careful. Okay, and we've got to place that just inside. There we go, like so. Now that will actually stick in place in due course when it's under compression, as I say. Now then, the other thing, how do we... Right, let's have a look. So what I need to do now is clip this over the top of the LCD. Correction, slip this over the pads, clip it in without dislodging the zebra connector. Okay, well, that seemed okay. And the next job should be the faceplate. Because of course that's what we then bond the clips onto to hold it all in place. Now as I'm reassembling this, it did occur to me that the easiest thing to do in the first place should have been really to just simply desolder the battery wires from the board. Could have taken the whole thing away and worked on it much more easily, but anyway, it's done now. So we had one set there, there's one set there. Always worth just laying things out in the order that you took them off. In this instance, the brackets and the nuts are all identical, but that might not always be the case on other things that you work on, so always worth just laying things out in a nice tidy order if you can. Right, here we go. And I'm not going to over torque these. I don't know what the torque references are, but I'm just going to do them up so they feel fairly snug. Right, well, it certainly does look the part, but before we do anything clever, let's get some batteries in. I just want to try it, make sure it works. Here's the moment of truth, guys. Yes! TV, light, videotape. Nice one. Okay, well, we'll have a proper look in a minute. But first things first, just going to put this back together properly. So we'll very carefully slide this in, because of course it's the LED at that end. Then press this home, and now we can get those 4 screws back in. Hopefully they've not all been stripped, that would be a bit annoying. No, that one's gone in okay. It's just that they were loose when I took them out, so I didn't know if someone had already stripped the threads on these, but I don't think so. Right. Nice, okay, well that's 2 out of 4, that's something. Come on. Yeah, that one, no, we're good. So all that remains is this 4th one under the security seal just there. Can bend that back, get the batteries back in, get the cover on, give the whole thing a quick polish, and I'll be back with the reveal. So here it is then, the B04 remote control from Bang & Olufsen. It did work technically, but it was really dirty, it was really scruffy. You could see that 20 years had taken its toll on this thing, and the screen was badly cracked. In fact, the LCD was totally smashed and absolutely good for nothing. Now, as I say, like it did work without the display, you kind of do need the display to help you set it up, you know, if you want to program settings for the stand and other things, and also to know, you know, what you're doing and where you are within the navigation and stuff like that. Always useful to have. On top of that as well, it's a classic piece, it weighs a ton, it's a piece of art really, beautiful thing, and the telly was really nice. I mean, these BeoVision tellies really are spot on, so to have a remote control that looked as scruffy as it did with a broken screen and dirt and grime all over the remote control just wasn't really going to be on. So there we go then. All we've done is we've stripped it down, we've cleaned up the aluminium, polished up the vinyl inserts, give everything a bit of a check over, cleaned between the sort of crevices and cracks in the housing, and fitted a new replacement LCD screen. So there we go, all working, all sorted. Thanks very much for watching, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did find it useful, then please consider subscribing. Check out my other videos with boomboxes, Walkmans, all sorts of kind of vintage games, 8-tracks, that kind of thing. Thank you, as I say, for watching. Thanks for your support, and I shall see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.